died as detained there. And it wasn't until I thought it'd be safe inside Doyle itself. I arrived and crossed the same bridge which I had been exchanged for prisoners out to Spain, and I was engaged in liberal activity. I think you should read it. Go on. I'm it's right.
Blood injury.
Last night we were down here. Bob walked down from the house and looked over the Liffey wall, and I thought, what has he dragged us all the way down here in the drizzle for? And after about 5 minutes he said, do they still have mackerel in there? He wanted me just to continue quickly his couple of words. He went back when Franco was in power, and Bob was engaged in strictly illegal activity, delivering and distributing law, voluntarily. She had served all her working life as a domestic for a wealthy Catholic family which supported Franco, but loved her and had treated her very well. Bob had met her daughter, Lola, at the first dance organised by the International Brigade members in London for Spanish refugees. It's a very dangerous organisation, the International Brigades. They spoke in Spanish. She didn't speak much English at the time. Bob courted her, as he said, and they became good friends. They married and had 2 sons, Robert and Julian, who is here today, with just some of Bob's grandchildren, Margarita, Tabitha, the extended Doylettes, pronounced carefully, and Juan Tovar Rey, who provides accommodation, friendship, and great moral support. Bob would like to acknowledge gratefully the work of his publisher, Joe O'Donoghue, without whom there would have been no book for you itself, the Irish Labour History Society, and the International Brigade Memorial Trust. And finally, the Spanish Association is still remembered today and remembered with pride. I must acknowledge the warm words here of Michael D. Higgins, the man who signed for Bob and his comrades, Michael O'Riordan, who inspired the fellow Irish with the ideals of the brigade, and only last year we gathered happily with him and his family in this same room to launch a new edition with his son Manus of that wonderful book, Connolly Column. So thank each of you for...
But we all live on through our children and grandchildren, and Bob is blessed with his grandchildren who are supporting him in this venture. But the other way of continuing one's life, one's everlasting life, is to record the imprint you have made on life. And I recall the words of that great Blasket writer, Tommaso Criffin, when asked why had he written on Tilánach, he says, "Cungamáin beos me marv, that I may be alive when I am dead." And this book from Bob will be his everlasting tribute, his everlasting vistas, and that there was a certain competition between them as to who would actually end up being the very last one. In fact, there's a beautiful photograph in Bob's book of the book launch of my dad's book last year, when they're both sharing a joke, and that maybe that very one-issued monument erected in Morata de Cunha, even though on that particular occasion it was not Bob who spoke, but Bill Alexander spoke at the monument, that he did not actually support its erection. But luckily enough, there was an Irish speaker at that ceremony, the very last Irish survivor of the Battle of Harama, Peter O'Connor, and he paid tribute.
In old Dublin town my name is tarred on pavement and slum wall, on thousands on our Christian front the starving children call, but with my gallant iron sides they call to us in vain, for we're off to slaughter workers in the sunny land of Spain. At Badajoz red ramparts the Spanish workers died, and Duffy's bellowing animal gang sang hymns of hate with pride. A peer's battle in my hand, a gay knight-errant I. Oh, and while I guide our gallant band, and Hitler guard the sky. From a village pump in Skibbereen, an eagle screams its woe when it hears the tramp of marching men from the bogs of Timahoe. The war drums roll in Dublin town, and from each lusty throat the fascists sing that ancient hymn, the peeler and the goat. Funeral of Genital Franco. And the policeman, not being possessed of a sense of humour, said, but the Generalissimo was still living. In that case, said Brendan, I'll wait. We didn't wait. But I was in Spain myself in the 50s, and I saw the results of people. I was carrying out a scam in Seville called teaching English. I think my English is bad now, you want to hear it then. Anyway, this is a song written by Christy Moore in honor of Frank Ryan. Around the time I heard the night to morn, a comradeship of heroes was laid. From every corner of the world came sailing the 15th International Brigade. They came to stand beside the Spanish people to try and stem the rising fascist tide. Franco's allies were the powerful and the wealthy. Frank Ryan's men came from the other side. Even the olives were bleeding as the battle for Madrid it thundered on. Truth and love against the force of evil, brotherhood against the fascist clan. Viva la Quinta Brigada, no pasarán, the pledge that made the fight. Adelante was the cry around the hillside. Let us all remember them tonight. Bob Hilliard was a Church of Ireland pastor. From Killarney across the Pyrenees he came. From Derry came a brave young Christian brother, and side by side they fought and died in Spain. Tommy Woods, aged 17, died in Cordova. With Fianna he learned to hold his gun. From Dublin to the Via del Rio, he fought and died beneath the Spanish sun. Viva la Quinta Brigada, no pasarán, the pledge that made them fight. Adelante was the cry around the hillside. Let us all remember them tonight. Many Irishmen heard the call of Franco, joined Hitler and Mussolini too. Propaganda from the pulpit and newspapers helped Joe Duffy to enlist his crew. The call came from Maynooth supports the fascists. The men of cloth had failed yet again. When the bishops blessed the blue shirts in Dunleary as they sailed beneath the swastika to Spain. Viva la Quinta Brigada, no pasarán, that made them fight. Adelante was the cry around the hillside. Let us all remember them tonight. This song is a tribute to Frank Ryan, Kit Conway and Dinny Cody too. Peter